You know, I've said this before, but we don't realize just how deep this problem is until something comes up in the news or talk radio or people commenting. American society has had a history of white knighting females. Not only have they white knighted them, but men have become simps, beta males, and are not being the men they're supposed to be in regards to women. Preachers, evangelical preachers that claim to know the Word of God, that claim they believe Genesis to Revelation, they do not confront their congregation, their parishioners on the behavior and attitudes, immaturity, narcissism, materialism, pet obsession, all of the flaws and sins of women. They beat up on men. I've said this for years. They constantly scream about masturbation, porn, lust, masturbation, porn, lust, MPL, MPL, NPL. And men go to church feeling guilty because they can't seem to get there to that perfect, moral, sexual, pure holiness. And why would they? Look at the wives they're married to. They're about as exciting as a box of rice cakes with no salt, no flavor, nothing. And many people dutifully stay in a marriage so that they don't disobey God's commands, aka a friend of mine in northern Minnesota. He was a flaming, practicing homosexual, made trips down to a park by Lake Superior where it was a known gay haven. I did not know that when I first started going to the park. It was a very pretty park. And I found out. We won't get all into that. But I met him there. We became friends for 13 years. He got converted to Christianity. He said he couldn't stand his wife, couldn't stand the sight of her, couldn't stand that she was a messy pig, overweight. He had no love for her. But in our culture, societal expectations and peer pressure from society, not just something that happens with children in middle or high school. You know, you can have a bus driver who's nice, who's good. You can have a teacher that's good, but you get the class clown that has that alpha complex, and no one will stand up to him. Kids want to think they're cool, so they're quiet. They won't defend what is right. By their silence, they give way to a fool. Men do it all the time. Men say things like, "Oh, I would never hit a woman." Wow, how noble of you. If a woman comes up and punches me, I'm going to defend myself. They want equal rights? Give it to them, baby. Now, I don't believe in attacking women physically. I don't believe in punching them and hitting them. But if they want to attack or threaten, a threat does not mean I'm going to do something. I'm going to confront it and say, "You're threatening me? Not a good idea." Men were made to fight or flight. And women have gotten out of bounds in America. That goes without saying. And they're not being told that in the church. They're not being told that on any level in society, not the public education system, not the media world, not Hollywood. Women in this culture, in American culture, can do whatever the hell they want, say whatever the hell they want, wear whatever they want. They can look like ridiculous, trashy, trampy fools. No man's going to criticize them, especially if he's got a Woody for her. Women get a free pass in society. They do a lot of things. They cause a lot of problems. They're the biggest source of problems in a workplace. Women today want to say that they're men. Women today that raise a kid will come and say, well, I might as well wish myself a Father's Day because it's Father's Day and I'm the only father here. No, you're not a father. Try again. Women fail to realize something, and it says in the Bible they are the weaker vessel. That's not an assessment that men made. That's an assessment that God, the Creator, made. And women rebel that. We rebel anything that has to do with God. They rebel the headship of a man. They rebel the man saying, no, we're not doing that. I watched a video last night of an India couple that the young lady and him were not very wise. They were dumb. They were stupid. They were foolish. They died by selfie. That's a growing trend, by the way. This started, I think, in 2018. She dyed her hair pink. Oh, yes, the liberated feminist woman. I can do whatever I want. No one can criticize her hair because, she's got a beautiful body. Let me go out with a shirt off my shoulder, this, whatever. Oh my God, is he gay? He looks like a female. How many men or women will comment on the butch female with the baseball hat on sideways and say that to her face? None. The double standard. But the double standard comes through when I was listening to a local radio station of the guys that replaced the late, great Rush Limbaugh. They were talking about all these women wanting to become feminine and act like girls and be in sports, and now everybody, including men, are in an uproar. I don't understand why the men are in an uproar. I don't understand what's bothering them so much. And do you know why? They never said anything about butch, domineering, feminist men acting women. They're silent. Society's quiet. But let a man be a sissy and Girls get away with a lot more. It's okay for two lesbians that are lipstick lesbian. They're more accepted than two gay men. Why the double standard? Both are gay. Oh, well, because we think two women's hot. We don't think two women or two men are hot. But why is it society's quiet? They're making a big deal about men wanting to become transgender. And they're coming into my world more and more. To be truthful, they have mental issues. They have mental issues. A guy that I work with insists that we call him ma'am, miss. And I think that's bullcrap. If you want to be a sissy, if you want to be a female, go ahead. But you were born with a rod between your legs, and I'm going to refer to you as sir. Now it's gotten to the point where we just have to say, don't use any pronouns at all. That way you won't be guilty of offending anybody. Welcome to the new wave of another layer of things. You got to watch what you say, or you could lose your job. But men are now talking about women becoming feminine. Where were the men decades ago when women were becoming butch? I'm going to lay it out there, and this is going to offend some people, but let's go. Women wanting to be cops, women wanting to be in the Marine Corps, women wanting to be in the military, women wanting to be in the gym, right alongside men pumping iron and ellipticals and treadmills, and they become gym Nazis and workout Nazis, and they fail to work on their cardiovascular. Don't miss what I'm saying. You got stuck up, rude acting, immature women that got their little electronic equipment in their arm. I did so many steps. F that. How about I just belted out 26 miles on foot? You can take your elliptical and wrap it around your neck and drown yourself in the ocean. You're going to go in a gym so that you can show off to other people, but snub and cock block all the males that are looking at you. The gym is nothing but a Vanity Fair. It's ridiculous. I'm not against working out, But I find it interesting. There's a direct correlation between women who work out and keep fit and don't spend as much energy on their children and raising them with values to be right, to fear God. That's gone. I have been through the washing machine, spin cycle, and rinse and repeat with women judging me all through my life, even today. I don't dress right. I have thick glasses. I don't make enough. I have long hair. It's the way you say things. It's funny how a female could unpack and analyze the shit out of me, put me under a microscope on a petri dish and go, fail! But let us do that to them, and they will howl and moan and cry, and they will not listen to truth. It's evident women are not going to listen to this video. Women are selective and will submit themselves to foolishness, and they will submit themselves to a fan club of people that rub and massage and tickle their ego. We're there. And now they're beating up on men. I've been very honest. I said, I have a feminine side. Would I become transgender? Am I transing? Nope. The only trans I'm into is transatlantic, trans-Pacific, but transsexual. I've been very honest that there are times I've had desires float through me that I don't always understand. Sometimes I think there's some men that are attractive and good looking. Would I date and marry one? No. Are there times when I feel horny for that? The thought? Yes. But 99.9% of the time in my life, I am moved by women. But guess what? I can get a date. That's not hard. People say, oh, Pacific can't get anybody. That's not true. Yesterday we had a celebration at work, and they cooked us food and all that, and people got up and danced, and several women came up and butted up into me and reached for my hand and rubbed up against me, and I was like, okay, all right. What about women trying to become men? Not trans. They want to talk like a man. Joyce Myers, one of the most hideous TV preacher personas out there. Up there with Billy, not Billy, but Joel Osteen, Benny Hinn, Clowns Are Us, Paul and Jan Crouch, and the Bakers, and Aaron or Kenneth Copeland, and clowns, scary, demented, false theology believing, foolish people claiming to represent Jesus Christ. They don't. They're representing their wallet. They use manipulation in the pulpit to make money. But men are beating up on men being femi. Should they? They were silent about women becoming butch. But let's stop right here. Men allowed this frog in the kettle a long time ago. Women in baseball, women in basketball, women in men's sports, women in hockey, brutal body contact sports. And men support that. Men in America have always wanted to rat down and toughenize their woman, have her cussing like a sailor and drinking beer with the good old boys and acting like a dude. Why? They ruin ladies in this culture. And the word lady is almost extinct in this land. Women have become toughies. They become wholly undesirable. And they play that little bit of cleavage or that little bit of leggage and that skin. And You have an entire generation of young girls all over the world now getting on TikTok and Reels, wearing no bra, bouncing up and down. Like me, follow me, follow me, subscribe to me, pay me, idolize the hell out of me. Some skinny little redhead saying she's from LA posts video after video, day after day. Maybe a half inch of tit meat. She's cute. And the sad thing about us men, myself included, is we look at that, go, But I'm older now, and I look at that and go, but no good. That's not an intellectual. That's not a woman who's going to help you increase your financial level or come up with home improvement ideas. This is a woman who is 100% all about her. And men want a piece of that. Read the comments on her videos. Oh, I love you. Oh my gosh, I wish I had you. Because you got a boner. There is no relational material there worth even looking at. There are conflicting schools of thought on what I'm about to say. The Bible's very clear that God does not put up with same sex marriages, same sex behavior. I've been attacked for that over and over. And I said, quit attacking me. Go to the Bible and go to God and scream it out with Him. But that doesn't mean that we, who are Christians, don't struggle with desires that are illicit and sinful and wrong in God's eyes. I do. I do every day. Lust is around me. It's been a part of my life since I had a libido. And you cannot wave a wand and say Frosted Lucky Charms are magically delicious and poof, it's gone. Steve Arterburn's Every Man's Battle and Bondage Breaker by Neil T. Anderson, in book after book after book on purity and holiness. And do they work? People say, well, you need to apply it. I live in a world where that's very hard to do. I'm working on my house still. I go to work and put in 12-hour shifts. There's stress in my life. A good orgasm goes a long way in reducing that. It's a reward I give myself in a world where there are no rewards. I remember years ago when I was under Pacific Ocean Asia, the trolls abounded. Pacific's going to masturbate himself silly. No, I got too much to do in a day to do that. 58 years old, I still have an incredibly high libido. I no longer apologize for it. Am I out having sex? No. Last time I had sex was 2018. 6 years. But why is it male society in America is quiet about the sins of women? Men are white knighting women's sports now. Don't miss that, boys. Oh, no, these men should not be in women's sports. And all the women are going, oh, they're defending us. Why do men do this? Because it's in us. We're going to be the guy that rides in on the stallion and I'll rescue you. It's a suck up thing. And I do agree that men should not be in women's sports. I don't care if you call yourself a trans. You were born with a dick. Therefore, you're a dude. Whether you want to act like one or not is another story, but you're not a woman. Can a cow become a lion? Can a koala bear become a grizzly? Of course it can't. But only in human, dumb thinking world America and what's manufactured in this country can a man say, I'm going to become a woman. I don't care what you do, you never will. You can grow boobies. You can sew your penis upside down and make it look like a taco. It will not give you the same sensation that a woman has. You cannot have a baby. Our society is very anti-male. Even men are. Men will do anything to eat dinner at the Y with a woman, deny himself, go along with her BS. They will do the hamster Olympics to get a date just because he's got a Woody. Men are looking at porn now more than ever before, and society's screaming and yell about it. There was a meme the other day that said, "You're a loser if you do any one of these following," and one of them was look at porn. I'm like, okay, well, that means every male, including me, is a loser. Is that true? I don't believe it is. Our dating culture sucks. Women suck, generally speaking, and you have nothing to go to. When women want to be in the locker room acting like men, that's a turnoff. But let's go deeper. Let's talk about the sinful realm. Most men like the idea of two pretty women kissing and removing bras and sucking nipples and eating and playing with each other. I don't know any men that want to see two male, butch acting females going at it. That even us who think that lesbian is very erotic, we don't want to see two ugly, man looking girls going at it. We need to flip the script. They're spending all this time talking about trans men going into women's sports. Where were the men when women went in the military? Where were the men in the Christian church saying women have no business being in a male role position as a pastor? I don't even need to get the Bible out. It's in 1st or 2nd Timothy. Paul talks about the qualifications for a deacon, overseer, bishop, elder, whatever. Must be the husband of one wife, not the wife of one husband. He must rule his children well, not she. He must have a good reputation towards outsiders, not she. He must not be a lover of money. He must not be given into drunkenness. But guess what? Women aren't going to hear what they need to hear. Just like we talk about media, the media does not tell the truth about politics. They're pro Democrat, pro teachers union, pro rebellious and godless behavior, including abortion, obsessive pet worship, saving animals, but don't worry about us in a crosswalk. I have looked out a windshield for years. Now I just look wherever I go. There's a major discrepancy. My life is not valued when I step into a crosswalk. But those same people that'll almost run me over or cut me off and not respect my right to cross safely, they'll slam on the brakes for a fucking dog or a squirrel or a cat. Americans don't like what I have to say because they want to wave their flag and eat their apple pie and drive their Chevy and Ford and think all is well. This country is long overdue for judgment. We have let women become feminists. We let them be bosses at work. Let them like AOC, Talib, Omar, which is a supporter of terrorism and Islam, and hatred against any non-Muslim. Women do not belong in authority or teaching over men. That's what God says. Women are not allowed in the pastorate. Not allowed. The qualifications make no mention of a woman. The pronoun is always he or husband, referring to the man, not a trans, not a female, but a man. And people got a problem. Men now want to talk about men trying to be like girls. With all due respect, man, shut up. You didn't say anything about butch women. You didn't say anything about them being police officers and in the military and over us on every level in the workplace. Now you got poor little sorry men kissing up to women, sucking up to women. That is not the job of a man. Now, a word of caution. You, me, we go to work. We got women supervisors and bosses. You're not going to go in there and tell them. You're not going to submit to them because they're in the world system and you have to go to your job and submit as unto the Lord. We're in a world system. And the only way you can avoid dealing with women being over you is to pull out. Start your own business. Got some cowlicks going on today, I see. I have a feminine side to me. I don't know why. I grew up with three sisters. I had a domineering mother, and I've had a lot of abuse and criticism and ridicule and bullying from women. I currently work with a lot of black women. A lot of them are a cosmic mess. Yell, loud voice, ghetto behavior, thinking they're the boss, thinking they're the chief. Why is there a double standard? Why are men quick to criticize a feminine acting man, but they've been silent while they stood by and let women become military? I'm going to tell you my advice. You cannot help what you feel. I will not condemn somebody who looks at same sex and feels an attraction, male or female. I'm not going to do that. God says that this is the way his expectations are. We fall short of them. That's why we need a savior. But back to my once friend in Minnesota. 13 years of a friendship ended because I chose to divorce my wife of 14 years. This was a man who became very self-righteous. Became very materialistic, obsessive about building his mausoleum, Taj Mahal, whatever. And you can't tell him truth about his sins, but he's good at looking at everybody else but him. His focus was his gay thing. And even after he got saved, he'd make trips to the park and jack off with other men. I never condemned him. I said, it's going to take you time, man. And I never had any of that with him. One, I didn't feel that kind of thing towards him. But I look back in my own dysfunctional growing up and formative years that I never stood up and did what I needed to do and say, you know what, Jeff, you're crossing a boundary. Okay. I've listened to you. I agree with a lot of what you say, but you're not right all the time. Back off. Jeff hasn't changed since I've left. Still the same. still playing the game of being married. They're not having sex. He doesn't love her. He was afraid of violating the injunction, if the unbeliever chooses to stay with you, do not seek divorce. And I agree, follow scripture. But when you're going to complain to me for years and my friends and our mutual friends for years, to use the term bitching, day in and day out, Sunday church, putting your hands in the air, what is going on, dude? I can't stand my wife. I said, divorce her then. No, I can't do that. I said, and I should have said, then stop bitching about her. And this is the problem with Christians in America. It's all about outward form. It's never this. It's about dotting your I's and crossing your T's. Never this. There's the spirit of the law and there's the letter of the law. And I used to be one of those that was very, very eensy weensy, itsy bitsy spider on everything. Until it blew up in my face when I went to Hong Kong and chased a woman. It doesn't matter what I do or where I go, I will never meet anybody's expectation of holiness. Stop trying. We need to be mature enough to go to God and lay ourselves before Him and say, God, you know what you're dealing with here. You know the yuck that is within me. There are times I get down. A good orgasm a day keeps the blues away. I don't care what anybody says. And everybody condemns masturbation. I find it healing. And I'm not being dirty and I'm not being perverted, that sometimes it's good to rub one out and go on about your damn day. Now, I'm not giving you Christian advice. I'm giving you real deal advice. Problem we got in America is we got too much cultural Christianity. Oh, you got to be holy. You got to be holy. You got to be holy. And just like the ellipticals, just like the treadmills at the gym, this is your Christian life. All day, never reaching the goal. And I chose to say, I'm done with that. When God changes this right here, when He does something in me that I no longer desire it, then I'm getting somewhere. But to play this little game, just like when I went to Calvary Belmar in Lakewood, Colorado, the then pastor, he's moved on to Vail, I think, said, fake it until you make it. Show me in that book called the Bible where it says that. The Bible says, put away, therefore. It says, take on. Watchman Nee was a Chinaman who many, many years ago, some people try to do some esoteric messiness with the Word of God. They try to tell us, well, you've been crucified with Christ. It is no longer you that lives, but Christ that lives in you. And they get into this semantical back and forth. The bottom line is, I'm going to submit to what I hear Apostle Paul says. I do the things I do not want to do. The good I want to do, I do not end up doing, but the evil that I do not want to do, this I end up doing. We call it the do-do chapter. And theologians argue back and forth and say, well, that was Paul talking about before he was a Christian. No, it wasn't. Because before you're a Christian, you do what you do. You might have a smidgen of guilt, but oh well, okay, sarah, sarah. It's when you become a Christian that suddenly you find yourself in this crucible of, I can't measure up. The closer you get to God as a Christian, the more unholy and inadequate you see yourself. Look at Isaiah. When the glory of God showed up, depart from me. I am a man. I'm a sinful man, a man of unclean lips and dwell among unclean people. He included himself in with the sinners. When people get close to God, they don't get arrogant. They say, oh, whoa, God, depart from me. You got swanky, snarky, attitudinal preachers living the good life with an attitude telling you from the pulpit, you need to claim your authority. God doesn't want you in poverty. God doesn't want you here. Don't do what Michael tells you to do. Do what that book tells you to do, but you will find something. I don't care how holy and righteous you think you are. No one can obey with perfection every day at all, ever. Billy Graham, great man, used by God. He had his crusades. The simple message, John 3:16, God so loved the world. But Billy Graham started caving in theologically, giving into embracing the Catholics, evangelicals and Catholics together. You can't do that. You look at all the greats, they embrace something somewhere that ain't right. We put John MacArthur, Chuck Swindoll, Beth Moore. We put all these people on a pedestal. Beth Moore is a rabid materialist. And I don't think that that's a poster child of Christianity. Let's do exactly what the world's doing. Let's dye our hair blonde with the brown roots, have the same crappy hairstyle the world does, goo gobs of makeup, goo gobs of ugly clothing. And now we're going to market our seminars so we can pour all the money into my kingdom. That is not ministry, folks. That's a charlatan. And I don't support or agree with Beth Moore. Beth Moore is so holy. Oh, I wouldn't vote for Trump. Look at what he's done to women. I wouldn't marry a Beth Moore. Look at what they've done to men. Fucked them up, drained their bank accounts, cleaned them out. And I'm sure that the man who's married to her, maybe he loves her, but I'll bet you he's a simp. And I don't care what he thinks of me. And this is the problem. We got cultures within a culture that endorse themselves, and they can pick up that Bible and have no ounce conviction that what they're doing is wrong. The same is even true of me. If we're going to walk in the Spirit's going to take the sword of the Spirit and start cutting some stuff in me, in you. And when he does, we got a coddle culture today in our school systems. I've watched over the years with the school systems. They're not giving consequences for bad behavior on the school buses. The bus drivers are being threatened. Kids smoke pot on the bus. Kids draw penises, slash the seats open, fuck with other kids, start fights on the bus. You can't get them off in some places. PBIS is a philosophical game plan that school districts around the country have adopted, which basically always praises the child. Only corporate America and dumb people, mostly women, can come up with dumb little charter statements for the school. We educate the whole child. Oh, I thought you were only supposed to educate the quarter child or the eighth child. The whole child. I mean, who comes up with this shit? And I worked with the school buses, driving them, and I just watched. All we're doing is shuttling these little brats to the largest taxpayer-funded daycare system in the world. You go back to the 50s, kids were taught how to operate rifles and handguns and treat them with respect. That needs to be done today. Nope, can't do that in the public school. Can't talk about God, but we can lie to the children and tell them they evolved from monkeys. And then we wonder why they're acting like monkeys. Have you ever seen monkeys in India? They're bad, naughty little creatures. They snatch purses. They run up with the power lines. They throw things at people. They shit in their hand and throw it. They're naughty. I'm not going to unpack evolution. I've done it many, many times. Evolution is not true. It's a doctrine of fools. It's a doctrine of fools who want to deny the existence of God and have no proof that we evolved from a creature. They say they do. They use the recycled brainwash, porridge that's poured into their heads from an educational establishment that believes in Darwin and atheistic bullshit. There is no transitional life forms in the fossil record of the living, but complete specimens. You don't see me with a monkey's tail. You see me with hair on my ears. Of course, I'm getting older. Sometimes you got to shave the little hairs that come out, places that you didn't have them before. But guess what? I didn't come from a monkey and I didn't come from primordial slime. I came from mother's womb somewhere in 1960s. And now you got people who want to change their sexuality as if you can. You're not God. You can sew up your penis to look like a taco, but you will never have a uterus, never have a vagina that feels the way a woman's does when a man goes into her. The thing about trans men is they want to be gay, but they want to look like a woman, so they can attract all the men. But some of them have complications. They want to be bi. And you got women that want to play trans. Now, I don't know how they take their taco and turn it into a hot dog, but I'm not even going to try to figure that one out. Am I being judgmental? Yeah. Because things are going to extremes today. What I do is simply cosmetic. These are actually girls' camisoles. They're not really camisoles. They're just a sleeveless top. I started buying them. They're $2.98 at Walmart, and they keep me cool. And when I wear my chain, I still look manly-ish with the long hair and all that. Now, there are people who say, why is he wearing girls' clothes? And that's hurting who? Does that make me less of a man? Do you see me putting on makeup? You see me doing my nails? You see carrying a handbag and a purse? No. People are so funny the way they'll judge me, but they won't judge the fact that they're all hanging around flaming gay people who truly act gay. As many of you know, I wear my shirt off the shoulder. You look like you're gay. Point to me any man out there that you know that's gay wears a shirt off the shoulder. Point to me one. I'm still waiting to see that. Now, I created my own style. When you do something out of the box, you're going to be criticized. When you say the kind of things I say on YouTube, you're going to be criticized, trolled, hounded, death threatened, harassed. That's a fact of life. And you start the process of maturation when you realize it don't matter if you got tons of fans. Do you believe what you believe enough to stand on it, even if nobody defends you? Then you reach your maturity. Are you bold enough to go forward in public with your views, even if everybody becomes a liver-bellied turncoat? Then you've started to grow. Your channel or your views should not be based on your fan club. If one thing I've seen that is loud and abundantly clear in America is we got people with a lot of fans, and they're dead freaking wrong. Oprah Winfrey, Joyce Myers, Barack Obama, the Clintons, the Democrats, all these little young slut tease whores on the internet, underage and my age, jumping up and down with no bra to get likes, and more likes. Honey, all you are is the penis Olympics or the vagina Olympics for the lesbians that think you're hot too. That's it. You're not contributing to global good. You're not contributing to intellectual content. You're not doing anything but adding to the pile of degradation and sin. And I sin, I struggle. I'm not being self-righteous. I'm a man and I cannot help feel the way I feel. I can't change that. And people said, oh, he's a fag, he's gay, and take my pictures and do dumb things with them to make no point. Or men get mad when they can't have a sexual liaison with me, so then they attack me even more. I am not a gay man. And let me tell you, man, just because you have an inkling, you see a guy walk by with a hot chest and you feel something, that doesn't mean you're gay. Gay is defined by I want to be with a man all the time. I want to date, marry, kiss his hairy armpits, all that. You're gay when you're into that shit. And let's go to a point that's going to come off of what I just said. Women becoming men by not shaving their underarms. Gross. You see this on this reels, young ladies and old, with more hair under their arms than I ever had under mine. Gross. Most men I know don't like that. I struggle because I'll look at pictures of two topless women kissing, touching nipples. It's erotic. I don't know why it is, but there is something in the Bible says the mystery of lawlessness. It is a mystery. And Christians try to pretend, oh, I'm a Christian. I don't look at that. I don't do that. Good for you. You want a medal or a chest to pin it on? I'll find what your issue is that hasn't changed. So shut up. You got women in the church today, they're stuck up, they're conceited, they have a very high opinion of themselves. Tell me how that is Christian growth. Prove that to me. One of the fruits of the Spirit is being a bitch. No, love, joy, peace, gentleness, kindness, patience, self control. Do you see that in American women? I don't. Buying SUVs, worshiping dogs, putting them on a pedestal higher than us. Look at dating sites, even with Christian or non Christian women. If a man doesn't love my dog, hey, boys, avoid yourself the trouble. Don't date pet lovers. They have a special mental illness, okay? I don't care if they're offended that I said it. I don't care. Women have judged me all my life for this, for my style, for anything. They trained me to not only judge them, but to accurately assess and give a statement regarding none of what I've said is false. Women in America are not the standard at all, ever. We men need to take our manhood back. So what if I do a little feminine? I'm not a pussy. I'm not a little girl. And I don't want to be a little girl and talk like this. My voice defies that. The very core of my essence defies that. We got a guy at work that's a mommy's boy. Looks older than me with a beard. A total mommy's boy. Can't get off her nipple, can't get off her breast. No girl's going to go after that. He's a good candidate for the gay lifestyle. Domineering mother, yells and screams at employees, is rude as hell to them. And her grown son is not becoming a man. They go on boat rides together. They do everything together. He can't get off the nipple. People say, well, maybe you could. I said, no, I'm not going to make a difference in his life. I don't want to be around somebody like that. Do I hate the guy? No, but I'm not comfortable. I'm a grown man. I don't want to be around a mommy's boy. He complains about work. He's got one of the easiest jobs you could have. Like, walk in my footsteps, buddy. I'll show you painful. Men are beat up in this society by women, and women are on top of every damn thing in this country. Their opinions matter more than ours. I see this all day long. Their feelings matter more than ours. Look at a whole month in October dedicated to breast cancer awareness. And even we men, I've bought the pink and we support all that. You see them wearing shirts to protect our balls? Nope. Mother's Day, there's more of a deal made over Mother's Day than there is Father's Day. And the holidays cater to the emotionally driven foolishness of women. Spend more money on tinsel and crap and cheap ass ornaments for a tree. Women have done this to themselves. I don't give a fuck what women think about Pacific. They're wrong. Oh, he has anger management. He has problems. I don't have anger management issues because I don't manage my anger. Sometimes I blow, cuss, throw the hammer down. Do I beat up a woman and tear up my own house? Nope. Do I smash the furniture? Nope. But do I get upset? Yep. Do women all the fucking time? Go up to those that say they don't have anger management issues, find their button and push it. You'll see it. They hit from 0 to 60 on anger right now. Tell them they're wrong. Tell them they're full of shit. Watch them hit the flat. Oh, you got anger management issues, honey? Maybe you better see a psychologist. I said this years ago, and I'll say it again. White women are notorious for diagnosing us, even though they're not clinical psychologists, they're not doctors, they're not in counseling services, okay? But they diagnose us men and think that they're airtight because they're a woman. Women can get a job in this country because they got a pair of these. Women can get the front desk because they got a pair of these. Women can get a job and get the good life because of these. We don't have that. And now women are crying about men that want to be sissies and yet be in women's sports and beat them. Wah. You brought this on yourselves. You want to be men. You want your own independence. You don't want to shave your underarms. You want to judge and condemn us men, and you want to use us like an ATM. You get what you deserve. Don't let the door hit you on the ass, sweetie. You shit on men. You shit on men. Now men are trying to act like you, and you're pissed about it. Pot calling the kettle black, double standard, got hypocrisy. That, yeah. I don't care what women in America think about me. I don't care. I've got a roommate at my house that actually shows things that most Western women don't have. Respect and kindness. We've not had one altercation since she's moved in. I'm not fucking her. I'm not kissing her. I don't hold her hand. I don't touch these. Guess what? I have and can live with a woman, and she's a white woman, and she far exceeds any of the white women I know. White women in this culture are trash, most of them. They got a very high opinion of themselves. They can get away with their shitty moods. Their vaginal menstruation excuses their shitty, rude, nasty behavior in the workplace. But let a man offend a woman in the workplace anywhere, and you will have hell to pay. This is not about equality. It's about domination. It's about women saying, do as I say, not as I do. I'm done. I watched a woman get up yesterday trying to encourage people to get up and dance and loosen up. She's shaped like a chocolate drop. Black woman with a really high pitched voice. And that microphone is like, God, somebody take the microphone away from that damn woman. The DJ's trying to do his DJ thing, and she's coming through his speakers, and everybody's just going, what? They start playing their cultural music, and nobody's getting up. I'm like, take a hint, boss. Take a hint. Nobody likes you. They can't. She's going to keep swinging her exalted, emancipated confidence. She looks ridiculous. Fat, butt waist is, about out that far, shaped like a bell or Hershey's Kiss. And she's got a office coat type thing on with slits in the side, and you see no material around her big bloated belly, big fat obese belly, and she's up there thinking she's a rock star. And I think that office people are nothing but politicians. All them women wearing their little same colored shirts. They were serving us food. I was polite. I'm like, I can't stand these people. Women have no business being over men. Women have no business being over men. Women have no fucking business being over men. But America, they want to reinvent the wheel and make it square. Pa-pump, pa-pump, pa-pump. Oh, it's running good. You can't reason with American women. Cannot. Not in a roller coaster car, not on the planet Mars. Women in this country are hypocritical. They're double standard. They're emotionally driven, not logic, but emotionally driven bullshit. They have anger management issues. They have pet obsession disorder, which is a mental disorder. They cockblock men. They tease men. They lead men on. They slut tease. They dress inappropriately. The young ladies are all over Facebook, even underage girls. No one can have them. But they got all these sorry simp men going, oh my God, you're beautiful. They get all the attention, all the glory, and they can get a cash app and men will send them pictures and they might send them a nudie. That's what's going on, folks. But women, they didn't want equality. They're full of shit. They want domination. I watched a woman get hired in my workplace. She had no experience for what the job called for. Many women had experience, way, way, way more, and much qualified. She got hired because she's black, and she got hired because she's a female, and she got hired because somebody in there liked her. She doesn't need a microphone either. A lot of people don't like her. She comes in with her wigs that are out to here, not her real hair. She's bombast. She's loud. She wants to everybody, not punch, but dominate. You can't educate a woman like that. You can't break through her bullshit. So we avoid her. Many of us should go. I'd love it if she showed up for my house and said, I want to talk to you. You got something against me? Oh, fuck yeah. Come on in and sit down. Let me tell you, you want to be a leader? First of all, you better get down on your knees and get back to something called humility. Number two, you better realize I have 58 years experience, and you're not going to talk to me or any grown man this way. You cannot get through to women. Just like you cannot get through to an atheist, and you cannot get through to Democrats, and you can't get through to a Mormon or Jehovah's Witness. If you notice something, men, because forget it, the women aren't here. If you notice something, men, you can tell somebody's wrong when you can't get through to them. You can tell they're in a wrong religion. You can tell they're in a wrong viewpoint. Atheists can't reach them. Democrats can't reach them. Mormons, Jehovah's Witness, Catholics, women can't reach them. But all of them will have you believing that you have all the problems. Anybody who does that to you is to be avoided. I think most of the men that are on my channel, I believe that we're man enough to make self-assessments and realize, yeah, I fucked up. I believe that most of the men that listen to me can look inside themselves and go, yeah, I'm not wholly adequate and perfectly secure. I'm not leading some little cult here of empowering men to be insensitive and rude to everybody around them. Women are. And I don't care if women criticize me. Oh, he might be gay. What if I was? I thought gays had rights. You see how that all works? You're friends with all the gays at work. You're friends with the gays around you, but Michael's got his shirt off his shoulder. You know what I think bothers women? Is I'm better looking than most of them with women's clothes on than they are. Because you know what? This smells good and it's clean. How'd you like to kiss on a woman that's got 6 inches of pit hair? How'd you like to stick your face and nose under that? Get a bunch of hair stuck in your teeth. You think that's sexy? I've had men tell me in my face, I'm not gay, but you're beautiful. Do you know what? That makes me feel good. Do you know why? Do I run off with them and go beat my stick? Nope. All of us better check ourselves on something. Maybe you're not gay. Maybe you don't even have same-sex desires. That's good. But be careful about those of us that sometimes have that shit flow through us. Before you think I'm looking at you and wanting something, no, I have male friends. I don't look at them that way. I don't want to be naked in the bed with them. There's too many stereotypes made in this culture about us guys, about gay men, while nothing's being said about women. But we can make a stereotype about them. Immature, materialistic, narcissistic, pet disorder, obsessive with SUVs, Starbucks, Netflix, and everything that really doesn't fucking matter. If all of that went away, oh well. I still got to go to work. I still got to pay the bills. If the SUV culture dries up, it will not affect me. If Starbucks closes its doors for good, won't affect me. If Netflix went away, won't affect me. If all the dogs and pets disappeared, wouldn't affect me. You see, women are into shit that doesn't matter. But my shit matters. I need a job. I need a shelter. I need a house. I need friendships. I'm getting bolder. I'll go to Home Depot, and if I want to wear this, I'm going to walk right in there. And if all the men and their mousy little fake blonde hair, dyed little mousy wing, go, oh my God. Look closely at the mousy blonde. Ripples, cottage cheese down here, cottage cheese down the back of the legs. I don't have any of that. I don't have a problem if men think I'm good looking. I don't care. I don't care if men go home and look at me and go, oh my gosh, and rub one out. I'm glad they got pleasured. Is that Christ-like? No. But are women acting Christ-like? Are even a lot of the men acting Christ-like? We have a Christian culture. People on my Facebook will judge me for my stance on Israel. Christians believe in the wrong stuff about it. I don't harangue and bang on them. I'm like, they want to be my friend? Okay. But they want to get into my face about it and say, you are incorrect. My door is very open. I was playing pool one night. A guy came in with his girlfriend. I believe I've told this story. Did not have feelings for him. He had a beard. He was acting kind of weird. He had a very hot girlfriend, but she, as I was there, they were there for about 3 hours, and she started acting strange. She wanted to arm wrestle me and cheated. She grabbed the bottom of the pole underneath the little cocktail table and was pulling. I said, you know what? That's not the way it works. You're supposed to take this hand underneath, and we go. She wouldn't do it. I can beat you. I said, no, you can't. You cheat. I said, why do you want to arm wrestle a man? See, women, they pride themselves. I hear women in my workplace say, oh, I got more balls than most men. And the fact is, some of them do. I hate to tell you this, guys. When I drove school bus, the men, the boys in high school, you got to see them when they're loading the bus, and a wasp, they never get it right. Nobody in this culture knows the fucking difference between a bee and a wasp. A wasp just looks totally different. It's got that big old stinger on the back. They're bigger. A bee is not looking to get in the bus. A bee is hanging around a patch of flowers to pollinate. Wasps, they're little F-16s. They show up and they're looking for something to mash on, or food or whatever. And the difference between a bee is it stings you once, it's done. A wasp will go ding, 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 and keep on going. And they're all screaming, the boys. And some girls, I said, man, what is going on back there? There's a bee. Where? I walk down the aisle. Sometimes I have my route book, but this particular day I didn't. I said, where? I saw it. I said, stop. Don't move around. Don't disturb it. I said, excuse me, young man. And I went, whacked it with my hand, killed it, dropped it. Oh my gosh, mister, you hit that with your hand. I said, wow. And you're all going to ask some of these girls to the prom, and you're all scared of a wasp. And then the girls start laughing. Oh my gosh, he's right. You see, we live in an age where people can't see the trees through the forest until you say something. Then the trees become clear. People want to say things about me. I'll tell you what, I've faced fucking ass trolls. I've faced ridicule, rejection by my mother. The miserable woman is still alive, and my dad died before. And no, I didn't call her. There's no reason to. I was damaged by women. And you can't sit down and have that discussion with women because they don't fucking care in this culture. They do not care. Men have more compassion than women do. I've had men call and check on me. Men, not women. Men, most of my life. I saw you weren't on Facebook. Are you okay? Women are all about themselves. And when they got something going on that causes them stress or duress, oh, we all want to hear about it. They're not equal to men. It says the woman is the weaker vessel. No matter how many times they go to the gym, I don't care if they wear a hat on backwards, wear a sports bra, and go, whoo! They're the weaker vessel. Don't believe me? I'll give you more proof. Look at attendance and absenteeism in the workplace. Who's absent and calls in the most? Women, women, women. Every place I've worked, it's more women than men. But I did see yesterday that I think one man and the rest women got perfect attendance. So there are women that will have perfect attendance, but women generally are more of a liability in the workplace than men because of their call-in status. So enough with the stereotypes. Wow, Pacific's dressing like a woman. So what? How's it affecting you or anybody else? Is that changing the planet? Am I creeping around kids? No. Do I go to my job like this? No. In my personal time, I can be what I want. I do it to break stereotypes. I do it to prove a point. I do it to collect information. I do it as social guinea pig experiments. It's funny, even out here when I be myself, some men will look at me and go, hey, sometimes when you exude that confidence and just strut your way, oh, well, he might be looking, I don't care. Nobody's aggressively pawing at me or doing something, but I'm sorry. When I'm 58 years old, I'm better looking than most of the white women with an uppity, snotty, disgusting attitude. Physically, I'm in better shape than most of them. Most 58-year-old white women in this culture have nothing to offer me or you guys. Not even good sex. Gravity sucked on the tits, sucked on the hips, sucked on the belly, the cottage cheese, cellulite, sleet, all down their bodies. Women whose faces look like melted candle wax, and they want to judge me. They want to tell me, oh, you look like you're gay. You look like you got hit by a fucking Amtrak. Ding, ding. We need to be careful out there. But if a woman wants to get up in your face, politely and calmly tell her the hard damn truth and watch her blow like a volcano. I stay away. I never thought I'd say this, but I'm going to. I'd rather be in the black community of women and deal with the shit that they do than Caucasian denial female culture. I'd like to go to Maine. This weather is so damn hot. I'm feeling a desire for the cold again. But that's Liberalville. And I don't want to be around white women. They're going to judge the hell out of me. It's funny. I can be myself here more than I can in my own culture more. There's a lopsided narrative in America where men are ganging up on men and what they do to play manginas, simps, white knighting, women culture. They know in their mind, oh God, I agree with him. It's sick, folks. Men, get off your high horse and start talking about them and what they're doing wrong. Do you know why I've been more bold with my feminine look? Because women aren't checking me out. That's why. That's why. Do you know why I don't care what women think? Because when I wasn't dressing this way, they still judge me. That's why. That's why. I went into the nightclub and a black woman who was very stuck up, 62 years old, looking worse for wear. She was pretty a year ago. Something to do with psychology. What is it about the female psychologist? My ex-wife, a woman I worked with at a school when I was driving a bus, they're fucking cuckoo. They don't admit their wrongs and they're assessing everybody else. She told my buddy, my pool buddy down there, oh, she was talking. I said, I'm sure she was. I could tell. Oh, he looks like a woman. He looks like a woman. Who's that? His girlfriend? No, that's his friend. I wanted to go up to her. I told my friend, I want to go up to her and say, excuse me, do you have something to say to me? I've never done anything to you. Whether I look like a girl or a man shouldn't matter to you. I've tried to be nice to you and her and all you little friends over here suck. You still don't have a man. You're 62 years old. I've been told you go home Once you get drunk and fuck these dirty, filthy, nasty men, you dated a homeless man that lived in your garage, and then you invite him in the house, and within a week in there, he told you need to clean your kitchen, and you didn't like that. What part of double standard do you not like? I love how women judge me, but they'll go after men that are just schlups. It don't matter if you have a house. It don't matter if you have a job, man. It don't matter. I got a friend in Boston who's got a very upper end townhome, very tasteful, very nice townhome. And he looks out on green space up there in Massachusetts. Beautiful. Doesn't have to hear ghetto music, barking dogs, and all the bull crap. He drove a bus to the city of Boston, made upwards of $100K a year, and his father's been living with a woman where he has spent all of his money on her to restore her home or better her home, and she treats him like cow crap. She came into his townhome one day and started running her mouth, has always looked down on my friend, and my friend finally said, "Fuck you." And I'm going to paraphrase poorly here, but basically said, "You judge me? You wanted this place for your friend, who he affectionately calls Ding Dong." We men have more compassion for each other than these damn women. I've become, in some ways, very judgmental, in other ways, more tolerant, even tolerant of things I probably shouldn't be. I don't care if a guy told me, "I think you're hot." I don't care if a guy said, "Man, you turn me on." So what? I will not look down on that person. The only thing I would look down is if they're trying to be aggressive, grabbing smelly breath, trying to get up, get away from me. I like women, but it's a foolish pursuit in this culture. And now men and talk show and conservatives and Christians are all screaming about all these men becoming trans. Why are they becoming that way? Because they were raised by a culture of domineering women. The school system is loaded with female teachers, racial wise, way more than men. Men vacated their roles of leadership. And men will not, even in the church, stand up against this crap of evolution. Has no business in the public school. It was a theory, and you teach it as a fact. I don't care what people think of this. I'm starting to see maybe some are jealous. Maybe some of these women don't like the fact I've rocking sexy better than some of them. Like Dreary Neary down at the club. Still doesn't have a man. Nobody's going to invest in her. She's a liability. And guess what? You think you're going to get good sex with that? Maybe once. Women get old, man. And they want to condemn us for jacking off. Better to jack off at a thought than to go marry that girl, run to the altar, fuck her brains out, and then have instant regret, but now you're trapped. I know that's not Christian teaching. I tell people, don't walk with your God based on what I'm telling you. You will give an account to God. I will give an account to God. And God's going to have a scathing review of Michael. It's not going to be pretty. When I stand before the holiness of God, it's going to be fail, fail, fail. I'm in the blood of Christ because I put my faith in him. That is the only thing that's going to save me. But I'm going to be judged for how I live my life as a Christian. It hasn't been good, people. But you got women in this culture and men that rate themselves pretty high based on a popular cult society that we live in. You know, you got the right truck and you drape your hand over the wheel like a badass and you roll coal and you got the pretty girls next to you and you're going to rate yourself pretty high. Well, guess what? When you show up, God's got to go boom, 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 boom. Nobody really fully realizes just how much God is going to judge us. And his judgment is going to be perfectly righteous and good. people think, well, God's going to get retribution. Retribution by God is not the same as retribution by us. We get revenge because we're pissed off. And there is something called the wrath of God. God says that a man should not dress as a woman. Guess what? I'm slightly guilty. Man shall not lie with a man as with a woman. I've done it before. Curious. Did it feel good? Yeah, sometimes it did. Was I in love with the guy? Did I do some of the things that gay people do? No. Sometimes I just like touch. Sometimes I just like affirmation. We're judged for that. We're judged by a society. We're judged by a Christian culture for that. But go run off to church and find yourself a wife. Good luck with that. It's not going to happen. We live in a culture, in American cultural Christian culture, where men have to submit to the women, not the other way around. Women call the shots. Look at the dating profiles. Look at the dating profiles of women on any dating site. Plenty of sharks. Look at them demanding. I want this, 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 this. Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. 3 bags full. But what do women get to say? Let me get on a dating site. I want a woman who's good looking. I want a woman who takes care of herself. I don't care if you're poor. I don't care, but pay your fucking bills. Don't have outstanding debt. Don't have a filthy, dirty house. And don't just clean it up because you want to impress me. And don't have a bunch of raggedy ass acting children and pets. I could pull that. Don't even talk to me if you got a dog. They could be just as much a bitch as a woman could. And I told a woman that once. I've got a lot more emotion than a lot of men. I didn't do well in the Midwest when I moved there. It's very stoic. Finland, Norway, Swedish culture, they're not sensitive, in touch men. They're men. Log rolling, and we're just men. They can sit around being sweaty and be all day and swing a pickaxe. Yes, and I do. And I do. You got all these college girls screaming pro-Palestine. Okay, little bitches. Get on the first flight to Gaza. Get on the ground and fight, you little warriors. You can trash campus and shit and desecrate the campus and the grounds and leave all your trash everywhere and put up your plywood and your little gay balloon tents and stuff. Fuck you. I love all these rabble rousers in this country that say, we're standing up for something. No, you're not. You really believe in the cause? Get your ass over there and fight with the Palestinians. Put up or shut up. You won't go. You just want to disrupt graduation ceremonies for people who fucking paid attention to their curriculum and want to graduate with honors, and hundreds walked out at Yale. Hey, Yale, can I give you a tip? Your requirements aren't strict enough. Activists should not be allowed in your university. But let's go back. The universities might want to start teaching in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, but instead we have confusion about genders. I'm a man, but I'm in touch with myself. Do I like to be sexy as a man? Yeah, it's becoming stronger as I get older. Maybe I have a little woman in me. Who knows? I'm not going to argue with it. I just do what I do. I don't recommend everybody do like me or imitate. You need to be who you are. No, I haven't seen that. I think people need to be who they are. But when I see a man trying to be a lady and that lady doesn't look good and the man doesn't, I mean, the guy is not a good looking man and not a good looking woman who wants to talk femmy and walk femmy and wear girls' clothes with purses. I think it's funny because I'm not even trans. And I've already been told by many, man, you rock it way better than any of the trans. I could. I could just go as a flat chested girl. Shave my face real close. Even got some body spray that smells good. There's so much stink around here in the South. Woo! I put on this peach mango, or what is it, peachy dream or something. Does smell girl, 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 but it's feminine. I like to do things just because. Now, I heard about that. The gays are standing up for Palestine and they fail to realize that those Palestinians would cut off their balls. Yet, the funny thing about the Muslim community is the Muslim women, when their husbands go, they're up each other's burqa with the other lady friends feeling titties all day. No religion can stop what resides in this. No gym in America can make a woman with a good heart. They talk about, oh, I did my cardio. No, you didn't. Yeah, I did. I did a bunch of You didn't do anything for this. You're a physical specimen, sort of, but your persona is shitty. And America is full of this. I've done enough experiments. They'll judge me and judge me and judge me. I give more back in my world than any of these lousy peanut comment peanuts from the gallery women give anybody any day. I am glad that there are men who don't struggle with same-sex desires. I don't most of the time. Once in a while, and when I say sex, I'm not talking about anal. I've never done that. I don't want that. Sometimes I've seen a man's smooth chest and the nipples and said, wow, that's hot. But I don't like men. They're hairy, they're sweaty, and they smell different. They're not. I like a woman. But you can't get a woman in this culture. Not a good looking one. And if she is good looking, she's like a purebred mutt or purebred dog that's going to be finicky and fussy and moody. I have a woman living in my house that has never once showed a bitch mode, never once woke up moody. Good morning. How are you doing today? Did you sleep good? Are you sure you're a Caucasian woman? She's a school teacher. She's great with her students. She has a good reputation with black, white, and all the people that she comes into contact with. I don't feel an attraction to her in a romantic way, but she's a damn good friend. First one I've had in years. Our culture is fucked because a lot of men that listen to me, they're not finding it easy to get a date. Some men that listen to me struggle with same sex desires. I don't care. I don't have a problem with that. But if you're going to condemn me because I believe God says it's wrong for a man to lie with a man, but look at what I've done. I've admitted to doing some of these things. We can get so low. There's a dynamic that takes place when you're denied what is a natural, normal thing for us, hardwired biologically to desire. Some of us, it's like kids, okay? They get involved with gangs or bad kids because they're being rejected by the so-called good society people. Same thing with us. When women are cock blocking and snubbing us, and a guy comes up and says, hey, how you doing? And talks to you and cares about you. When I used to go to the steam bath in Denver, there were men that give me a massage every time I come in there and I didn't have to pay. I loved it. And I didn't care that they had a sexual attraction towards me. And people want to scream and yell, you're a Christian, you're a Christian. I am. That doesn't change the feelings that are within me. And there's this belief that when you become a Christian, all of a sudden, frosted Lucky Charms, they're magically delicious, you're super holy. Positionally, we're holy in Christ, but the working of that out is a whole nother story. We're scarred too. Women always play victim. Women always talk about, I don't trust men because my uncle, he put his hand down my shirt when my tits were developing. How many times did you do that? One time. Oh, and you're scarred for life over that. Okay. And you want to live in that as if though it happened 5 minutes ago. But tell a woman what Michael's been through with women. They don't want to listen. They hear Charlie Brown's teacher. Wah, wah. And so I put things out here because I think a lot of men are struggling. It's okay. It's okay to admit it. I am not going to beat up on anybody and say, well, you shouldn't look at same sex and feel that. Wouldn't it be nice if it was that easy? But that's not the way it works. We're scarred. We're damaged. I like women. But yes, there are times I've thought, wouldn't it be nice to have kind of a nice, clean, smooth man who smells good? And when you feel that urge, you can just go over and, be yourself, be naked and lay there and talk together. Yeah, sometimes that would be kind of cool. But that's not in me all the time. We live in a society, and I have a good friend. He taught English in Guangzhou for 6 years. And he and I went down the same path. He fell in love with a university professor over there. They lived together for a while, a woman. They had some struggles. First she didn't shave in her armpits or her legs. And women sometimes take on male characteristics, and I don't want to be with a woman who's got male characteristics. I don't find that attractive. And when you see men that are cleaner and smoother and smell better than a lot of women, you just start going, wow, it's kind of upside down in this world. And I shave under my arms because I don't like hair. I like to wear sleeveless stuff. I like to dress semi-provocative in my own way just because. I don't like all that hair. And I look around at a lot of these judgmental, sneer down their nose women. I'm going, man, you're not even that cute. I'm better looking than you as a man naked than you ever would be. That empowers me because men will fall all over themselves to get a date with women like that. And the outcome of that, if they get one, is never going to be good. It won't last. Look at all the women. They're like rusty freighters tied up at the dock, waiting to be shipped to India to be taken apart and dismantled. I'm like the Normandy, the old ocean liner, one of the most beautiful ever built, still streaming through the waters. I'm just using an analogy. I don't think I'm God's gift to women. Obviously, I'm not because they're not banging down my door to get to me. But it was funny. Some of the music that was playing, I was kind of standing up and moving. And some of the black women, even some of the older one, came over and grabbed my hand and started rubbing up against me. And, it's really sad in our society that white women don't do that. They're so stoicized and reserved. And I lived up there in northern Minnesota. And it was a shock to the system. And people who haven't lived in the Midwest do not understand what I'm about to tell you. They're stoic. Look up the word. Now, the Bible mentions the word stoic or stoics. I think they were Greek philosophers. But basically, it's a person without any feeling. And I'd say hi to somebody and they would ignore me or look at me like I was strange. Scandinavian men tend to be very, very, very without heart. They're dutiful. They're hard workers, the old school ones. But as far as feeling and passion, nah. And when a man down at the park from Winnipeg, Manitoba, I always talked to him. I never thought he had gay inklings, never thought of that. He touched me, he complimented me, and I had a Heckle, Jekyll, and Hyde thing. I liked it, but then I loathed myself and I couldn't stand him. And I went through this for about a year. He touched me. He complimented me. How many of us get that from women in our culture? Not many. Women are after money. They want to exploit and use men. I've had more men compliment me on many levels than women. I've had more black women compliment me on many levels than white women. Out of all the women in the US, Caucasian females in the US have the most issues and have a funky, fucked up way of looking at us and the rest of society. They have too high of an opinion of themselves that never comes back down to earth. And they get away with it because men pedestalize them. Men put that bicycle pump and inflate them. Oh, you look so good. Oh, you're so hot. And they do it, do it, do it, do it. I missed out on that. I've been watching the tornadoes and baseball-sized hail in Yuma and Texas, golf ball-sized hail, the apocalyptic damage. I see so many disasters going on in the last literally weeks in the Midwest, and I was very sad for Greenfield. Looked like a good, solid community. Tore up in Iowa. I feel for those people. They cared about each other. And people better pay attention because people will judge me for this or that. If I had the means and I didn't have to work and I had the money, sheesh, I'd be going up there with a big truck and saying, "What can I do to help?" Michael believes in community. Michael believes in matrimony. Michael believes in God. Michael believes that it's God's will that we be straight. And instead of saying something that isn't quite accurate, I'm not perfectly straight. I'm mostly straight. Sometimes when I get blue and you've been in a desert on a horse with no name, and again, I don't look at men that I work with or men in society and go, "Ooh, I want a relationship with them." I don't. I don't. Sometimes I miss the steam bath where I could go sit down and you could go in the hot tub and some guy starts touching you. It's just like, okay, this is what we do. And people say, "Oh, you're a fag." No, I'm not. Because I don't walk home or get in my truck and leave there going, "Oh my God, I'm so in love with him." No. Men, and I did a study on homosexuality years ago. I had an Encyclopedia Britannica set in my apartment in Duluth, and I pulled up homosexuality because I was struggling with some of the stuff that I went through. Like, what am I? And it talked about men for prolonged periods away from women in the 50s, after World War II, when they were out at sea for 6 months, that the homosexuality started to crop up. That even normal heterosexual men, not all, but when they're away from women, are showering in a common area together, they might start going, "Ooh." People don't understand that. The Bible says it is not good for man to live alone. Does anybody know why God said that? Does anybody even try to unpack that? They just think, "Oh, yeah, because why?" We were given a sex drive. And if you're not able to fulfill that with a woman, but then you go to church, "Oh, you got to wait on God. Got to wait on God. He's bringing you the perfect one." "Oh, I'm 79 years old. She still hasn't come." Dumb people say dumb things. So a man's going to be sexual pure for 79 years, never rub one out. That's because he doesn't have a sex drive. My point is, that's not going to happen. But our male society wants to impinge and yell and crucify men for the things that we do. Christian men want to white knight women. Oh, men, you shouldn't masturbate. You must have sexual purity. Yes, the Bible teaches that. You see, am I denying what the Bible teaches? Not at all. Am I rewriting it to fit me? Am I bringing it down to me to excuse myself? No. I'm saying this is the standard and this is specific. This is the standard and this is specific. This is the standard and this is specific. I can't meet it. That's why I needed a savior. But this idea that you play this wretched game, well, you're supposed to deny yourself and crucify your flesh and crucify. Okay, what does that look like? I go on about my day and get it out of my mind. Okay, don't look at porn today. There's days I haven't. There's days I go and focus and I feel good in the Lord, and some girl walks by with cleavage or the nipples poking through. I'm done. That's that quick. I'm done. I'm not going to not notice that. That whole argument that Christians use is stupid. God put that stuff on a woman to make our heart beat, baby. And when you see one after another that you can't have a relationship with, it's cock block. And when you get that, you have an even greater struggle. What I say on here, I'm not saying, thus saith the Lord. I'm not saying that you need to follow my example. I'm trying to help people understand some of this stuff in the day and age we're living in. It's not necessarily right, but it's normal. We're Generation X, some of us. Look at what we grew up with. Look at what this generation's growing up with. The years of cumulative dominance of females in the educational system has not helped young men. Me growing up with a domineering mother and a sister that was a liar and deceitful and not so nice has affected me. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what people think of Pacific. It matters what God says about Pacific. And I know enough about that book to know that I failed on this and this and this and this. But people like to judge. They like to add insult to insult. It doesn't solve the problem. It doesn't change us. And that's what we do as Americans, judge the fuck out of everybody. And has it made people better? Has it made them more godly? Never. Just shames them. And then there's a psychological dynamic that takes place. Man, maybe I'm not a Christian. Maybe I'm really not a Christian and I'm just going to hell because I can't get rid of these things. And you start believing lies from the devil. What is Pacific? A sinner saved by grace. You know, I wish as a Christian I didn't have a sex drive. But then I analyze that. If my sex drive goes, guess what else goes? My passion. The reason you guys listen to me is because I have a sex drive. Have you been around people that don't have a sex drive? I'm sure some of you had. What kind of people are they like? Passionless? Very, very, very judgmental. I criticize Anne Graham lots. Anne Graham is very, very anti-sexual. That's fine. She's the daughter of Billy Graham. I don't know Anne Graham lots. I don't want to know her. She wouldn't hang with me and I wouldn't hang with her. One of the most rudest awakenings I got is when I became a Christian. I thought we were all one in Christ. That's what the Bible says. But people in Christian circles still do a caste system. Okay. Anne Graham's going to look at me and go, oh, no way. There's something wrong in our culture where people think that they're better than everybody else. And that's something that's not going away in the church of Christ at all. You got groupies, you got pastors, friends with his little groupies and church groupies. and I or other people I know walk in and they're ignored. Now, I don't wear this stuff. They don't know me from Adam. And all of that has helped to contribute to make me say, who gives a fuck what they think? Just go and be you. Let them judge the hell out of you. What else is new? I want validation too. All these women are getting it every damn day. Oh, you're hot. Oh, you're cute. We don't. We men don't. We're treated as dogs by most of society. I walked out the door, the parking lot where the festivities are going on at work, and this black woman who's irritating can't even look me in the eye and say, good morning. I even got a shirt made up myself with our supervisor on it. Nobody did that. They wanted everybody to buy these shirts through somebody else who's equally annoying and irritating so she can make all the money, which I don't agree with that. That should go back into the company, not somebody's personal side business who's a twat to begin with. And you think any of those management come up and said, wow, that's really nice. No, because Michael came up with it. Michael didn't get in sync with everybody else. I never am. And I stopped trying. I can go to work and do what I'm supposed to do, but it's not mandatory I buy that shirt. They wanted everybody to get in team spirit. What if I get in the team spirit in my own way and send a cosmic boom? My supervisor loved the shirt. That made her swell and smile. Here's the thing. Be you. Fuck the rest of society, even in the church. You don't go in there and be rude. Don't go in there and be rude. But be who you are. I had to learn from a 13-year dysfunctional friendship with a guy who came out of a flaming gay lifestyle, fucking men up the ass on the living room floor in the house of the property that his wife owned for years. Playing this little game at his job, working for the railroad and the iron ore docks, pretending to be a man while he's a little sissy with men. And when I met him, I was tender and kind and said, God forgives us when we put our faith in him. And I tried to help him. I told him about the word. We became good friends. But when I was having trouble and went to leave a wife of 14 years, his judgmental self-righteousness was a slap in the face. And that's when it hit me. Stop trying to dot your I's and cross your T's so hard. Because when you make a mistake, people like Gazelle just run. This YouTube channel isn't about me having close, iconic friendships. It's a place for me to vent. It's a place for me to encourage people to be who they are. Am I telling you to go out and become trans? No freaking way. Am I trans? Nope. I like doing this. I like feeling sexy. Why is it only women can feel sexy? They can dress slutty. They can dress provocative, but let me do this. And, oh, there's something wrong with you. No, I'm a man. And I like the body God's given me. Why can't I tease a little? Why not? Why? Well, because men shouldn't do that. Women shouldn't do a lot, but God lets them do it, doesn't he? Here's the thing, folks. We got a double standard, unequal society. I'm going to be who I am. It's never going to be popular. It's never going to be in vogue with a society that's cookie cutter. Oh, I just bought my Toyota Sequoia, my Range Rover. Wow, that's so original. I love my dog. Wow, that's really original. Oh, they got this new latte at Starbucks. Wow, you're not like everybody else. Our society gangs up on, puts down, smears, shits on, abuses, harasses people like me who don't get in lockstep with the factory produced bullshit culture that we live in. But there are some who say, man, I like the way you are. There are women that find me highly erotic dressing the way I dress. They said, you have a sexiness, and I know you're not gay. When you finally say fuck society and do what you do, that little trickle of people will come out and revalidate you. I don't care about some mousy wife who doesn't do a thing all day with her big bodybuilder husband coming into Home Depot to buy the lumber. My man's going to build a deck. Wow. Does he got to watch a tutorial? I did my whole fucking house without a YouTube tutorial. Women, this stuff up here, their brain is like a shoebox with marbles and little trinkets and jacks and little bells that go on a cat collar. And you shake it, and that's what the inside of a white woman's brain is like. Nothing makes any fucking sense in there. They'll judge me. They'll judge me all day long. But they'll never judge the women with their outlandish, ugly attire, their outlandish behavior, using and exploiting men for money. This isn't about equality. It's about domination and double standard. I don't care what women in this culture think of Michael. I already know. Don't care. But these silly little American men that want to talk about men becoming feminine and men becoming trans and men, oh, woe to the world of what's happening with men. Woe to you who didn't stop this onslaught of feminism and women dominating the education place, women in media telling us lies, and a show like The View gaining traction. Who wants to listen to a trash TV program called The View? Women whose opinion of me doesn't fucking matter. That's who. They watch that. They've already branded themselves as losers, no matter what the popular consent says. Look what goes viral. Look what's popular. It's mostly wrong. Purple hair India girl got too close to the edge of Yosemite, and in the dark of night, her boyfriend or whatever fell 800 feet, and her body was pulverized on sharp boulders and rocks from a glacial age. And all these pathetic Americans, they were such a beautiful couple. They will be missed. Oh, this is so sad. And I said, I know this isn't going to be popular, but this is nothing but foolishness. They should have listened to the elders. Get back from the edge of that. Don't go up there. You could slip. But they had to get that dramatic selfie. Dumb, da-dum, dumb. Our society isn't tracking right. Some macho cowboy or macho ass that cusses and thinks he's macho, go, who's that sissy over there? None of your fucking business, butthole. Just because you talk tough and think you're tough doesn't mean it's so. Walk through my moccasins and we'll do a side-by-side comparison, little boy. You want to judge me because I'm wearing this? What bearing does it have on you? Am I hitting on you? Fuck no. Am I rubbing my arm against you? No. And because it's against the law to harass gays and stuff, let them think what they want. I now can dress this way, and people cannot just come up and start doing shit, technically. And I'm not gay. I don't want to be with a man. I don't want to come home and say, hi, honey, can I suck you off today? I'm home. No, I don't. There's different levels of a same-sex thing. Gay is when you're hardcore, when that's what you want. That's it. When you don't mind a hairy Chewbacca that you're going to roll around and sweat on all night long. I'm not into that. There's a double standard, though. It's hard to be friends with a lot of men in this culture because a lot of men have a macho complex. A lot of men are fake too. They hide behind a pickup, a beer can, their self-importance. They think everybody else is less than them. I get that all the time. Grown men will look at me and go, because I wear glasses and I got long hair and I'm different. That doesn't make a man. That's just another asshole spewing his worthless, wasted opinion. And what's he doing for society? You know, you listen to these women that have no sweetness about them. Oh, I know what a real man is. Oh, do you? A real man will look in the eye and say, you're fucking wrong and I'm tired of it. Knock it off or I'm going to send you out the door. That's what a real man does. We don't have too many real men. They're not going to offend the lady. They're going to go hide in the garage and shut their mouth. That's not manhood. I'm at the point now, a woman wants to date me and she want to get up in my face and say, date's over. Bye, Felicia. Not doing this today. Just like when I'd have the kids on the bus and they act up, I'd get up. Nope, we're not doing this today. Get back in that seatbelt. Kids that are supposed to be seatbelted, little pre-Ks and kindergartners want to run up and down the bus and scream and grab people and pull their hair. Nope. And you got to pick them up, put them in the car seat. And they want a submarine, and you got to put your leg down on the seat so it blocks their legs so they can't submarine while you're clipping it off. Nope, not today. And other drivers and bus monitors will laugh and go, man, you cracked me up. I said, you know what? We need to take control of the situation, man. Society says, oh, you can't touch them. You can't do this. I'm putting them in the car seat. That's my job. And I have to pick the kid up. I'm not beating them or abusing them or frisking them. No, the kid's going in the seat. And that's when I was doing that. We need men today. And we need men to stop grandstanding to a bunch of shallow ass women in this culture. When we make stars, now I like Fleetwood Mac's music. Okay. But Fleetwood Mac is not marriage material. Madonna's not marriage material. Cyndi Lauper's not marriage material. Pat Benatar's not marriage material. I mean, let's think about it. Hit me with your best shot. A woman who's glorifying fighting and putting a notch in her lipstick case. This is the problem, is we've been grown in this culture that we've just the frog in the kettle. And now we just think, oh, Pat Benatar's hot. You want to marry that? Do you really want to marry that? Is she going to be a lady? Is she going to be sweet? These women are jaded, folks. Jaded. It was said that Stevie Nicks was into witchcraft. How'd you like to marry a witch? Oh, wait a minute. They don't have to practice witchcraft. Most of the women out there are witches. My pretties, here's your broom. They don't like what I say because it's the damn truth. My channel's no longer for women. It's for men because women aren't going to listen to this. And all they're going to do is criticize and analyze the hell out of me and say all kinds of lovely, pleasant things about me. It doesn't matter. They don't have accreditation anymore. I think a lot of women have a problem with the way I'm dressed because a lot of the women that criticize me, they're fat. They got queefage and hair under the arms and cottage cheese all over their belly. And they want to laugh and ridicule me. And I just, if they said it to my face, I'd say, wow. And let's do a side-by-side comparison and see who would want to be with who here. I'm better looking nude than you are. And cleaner. That is true. And thanks for the comments. Remember when they had a bumper sticker in the 80s, 90s, my other car is a broom? Women are proud of that shit. Proud as all get out. They like being bitches. They're proud of it. Yep, I know I'm a bitch. Please, men, stop complimenting those kinds of women. Stop. We men allowed this to happen. We did it. And we're reaping what we've all sowed collectively. And Pacific comes along and turns this thing upside down and puts it right back where it needs to be. Grab your manhood, grab your balls and say, no, we're not doing this no more. Don't even give them the time of day. Look over, around, and through them as you go through your walk of life. Don't chase a woman. Let them pursue you. That's the problem. Oh, but man, don't give me that crap. Man's supposed to do this. Who was it that went to the well? Was it Jacob? Somebody, Joseph, I can't remember. And the woman that he asked to bring water, that was to be his wife. But he didn't chase her down. He just showed up. There's a story years ago of a guy named Peter Jenkins. I read his books. Sad, things didn't end up working out in the long run. I don't know what he's doing now. But he had a heartwarming story that touched a lot of Americans called Walk Across America and Walk West. He started from Vermont, came down the East Coast, stayed a very kind black family in North or South Carolina for a while, and he worked his way down, stopped in the Gulf, worked on an offshore drilling rig, stopped in Wyoming for the winter. But on the way, he went through Mobile, Alabama, went through Orleans, whatever, found a woman that he was in love with who was going to seminary or Bible college or something. And he got Jesus and she was a Christian. And he said, I want you to go with me on this walk for the rest of the way to the Oregon coast. And she's like, what, me? I got a friend down at the club. Well, not a friend. There was a girl I was interested in. She was very gothic, had these side ponytails long down her waist. Beautiful white girl. Beautiful. Always nice to me. And she started dating a guy that moved from Atlanta, moved into her place, and now he's working down there as a bouncer making peanuts on the dollar. He's not a big dude either. He's much smaller than all the other bouncers. And that got me to thinking, man, stop moving into her house. Go get your own hut and go get that woman and bring her to you. This stupid crap of men moving in with the girl, bowing to that. My views are shifting over the years. We need to be men. Build your own house. And if you're dating somebody and you think you got to tell her, I want you, you're going to come with me? No, I ain't going to come with you. Well, then go away. We need to lead. Let them follow. Stop following women. Stop following women. Stop following women. If they don't like me or they think I dress gay, and women are not worth pursuing today. And we have got to realize, people can say, oh, porn damages you. Does it? Does it really? Actually, porn has caused me to see women for what they are, a bunch of vain, worthless things to pursue. Well, see, there you go. You're supposed to cherish a woman. I'm not going to cherish these girls today. They have nothing to cherish. You ever hear a song back in the day and you, oh, love this song. You ran out, bought the album, and a week later, you never played it again? There's music that I heard as a kid that I still play and is just as fresh and powerful. All of My Love by Led Zeppelin. Oh, I love the music to that. That song is awesome. But Safety Dance, SSSSA. Or this one, you can dance if you want to. You can leave your friends behind, but if you don't dance, not a favorite, won't listen to it, not purposefully. ELO, still listen to them. Men at Work, still listen to them. But I call them flash in the pan. And we, in our dating culture, it's almost like miniature marriages. You shift it into high gear. Oh, she's cute. Now let's go to my back seat or my truck and let's go sit on Inspiration Point and neck and kiss and feel her boobies. And the next day you've lost interest. That's what we do. Our dating culture's just kind of a way to, no, not for me. Nope, not for me. But I do not believe in just saying, well, you just got to make a decision and marry and choose to love. Be careful about that. I did that in 5 weeks and I paid for it first 14 years by being married. And after I divorced her, she added an additional 15. That was a CD that paid hellacious interest. 15 years after, she added one more year for my pleasure of complete tyranny. And a few years ago, she contacted me here through my son and messaged me and called me. And I said, okay, she wants to get some scoop. I'll tell her, yep, moved to Georgia, bought a house. And that same old shit came up. And I said, honey, we divorced. I moved away. He's 20, well over 21 now. Don't call my phone anymore because I don't want to talk to you. And I blocked it. And I lost a friend of 13 years because I chose to divorce that woman. And he wanted to put in my face, well, I stayed with my wife. I said, and you bitched about it for years. So you tell me, viewers, is God going to look at my friend Jeff and say, well, but he stayed with her, so he was obedient? What does the Bible say? God looks at the what? You hate it, 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 and you're on a superstitious view of God. Oh, I got to stay or he's going to swat me. Did anybody know the story about the prodigal son? I think we all do. Did you ever pay attention to something in that? The son that never left. Bitter. When the prodigal son came back and father slaughtered the fatted calf and had the party, and the bitter son who stayed said, wow, you're doing all this, and he lived and squandered. And Jesus was basically talking about the Pharisees. That son who stayed, he was obedient, but it wasn't from a love or a heart thing. The prodigal son, when he returned to his senses, had woke up. And we got Christians like that. Well, I did this. Oh, well, la-di freaking da. And I should have seen this coming before that for years. I'm going to have to break fellowship with this guy. What is this breaking fellowship? A neighbor that wasn't even a Christian. Jeff hasn't changed. He's right there in the stupid depot station that I left him at when I left Duluth in 1995. Look at those of you that know me, look at how much stuff I've been through since then. If you get on the train, sometimes you don't need to stop at the station, okay? Rolling through, woo, and keep it trucking. Oh, there's Mike on the train. Bye. Not stopping here, buddy. I will stand before God, not Jeff, not any of you. None of you are going to be there saying, oh, Mike, we didn't like what you said in your video. Oh, Mike, the way you dressed. No, God's going to say what he says. And guess what? There's going to be no yabbits coming out of this mouth and be like, do you notice what it says in the Bible? He will wipe away every tear from their eye. Wait a minute. We're in the presence of heaven. Why are we crying? Because when he does an assessment of his children, those of us that are Christians, we're all going to be shedding tears for the blown opportunities and the flesh and the dumb stuff we did. That's why. That's why. That's why. Because we're either going to get rewards or suffer loss, not loss of eternal life. People need to read that Bible and understand it and stop making it walk on all fours. Because if it's going to be judged by God for some of the foolish things I've done, absolutely. But guess what? So are all the women out there too. They just think that God's got their back. I heard a woman say that in the store the other day and she pops out her cigarette. God's got my back. Does he? I should ask her, but do you have his? Do I have God's? Not always. You know how many times I worked on this house and I cussed at God and said, why does everything have to be so hard? That was part of the little boy in me trying to grow up and become a man and realize that not everything revolves around my comfort zone. Working on this house did something to me. Shit, that's blown. That's got termites. That's got this. Problem solved, Mike. Man up. And I did. Listen to your artists on talk issues, but realize that they're slanted too. They really gang up on men. Men are trans, men are in women's sports, trying to be like women. Why are you standing up for women's sports? Should women be in sports? Should women be in contact sports as ladies? No. But our society, now we got women's basketball, women's baseball. Pretty soon they'll have women's football. We got women's hockey, and our Christian culture and men culture, they support that. There's just some things that ladies don't belong in. I know this 2024 and Carrot Top's making a statement like that, huh? Yeah, that's going to go over like a Led Zeppelin. It doesn't matter. God's truths are timeless. And no matter what I do or how I dress or anything that we embrace or whatever, there's God's Ancient of Days, his commands that are set in eternity, and then there's us. The two are not the same. The two are not the same. The two are not the same. We want to reinvent this wheel over here, and we're not doing a good job at it at all. Our society in America is proof that when you turn your back on God and throw prayer out of school and throw the Bible out and you teach a bunch of foolishness in the name of humanism and atheism, and then you wonder why things aren't working. Well, dirt, it shouldn't be that hard to figure it out. When we don't do things God's ways, it doesn't work. I've seen it. Run right out there, grab a woman and just marry her. Is that wisdom? Is it? Sure didn't work for me, did it? The people scream and yell about that Bible verse says, do not be unequally yoked. And I agree with that. But you know, that's not just talking about, to me. There are women that you could get involved with that they're very immature as a Christian. Don't think you're going to come along and grow them up. That woman of 14 years was a Christian. She was extremely juvenile, and I've said it before. There's a lot of diapered saints in our midst. Sometimes I'm not very mature in my Christian walk. America's kind of a hard place for us to really grow, isn't it? We got TV, we got music, we got all these things that grab at us. And then you got in our brokenness and our humanity. And here's the thing, folks, you can go to church, you can go to Bible study, you can go to fall seminars, you can go to all these things. At the end of the day, I don't care how much scripture you memorized, we're still human. Flip the script, men. All these men up here talking about the bad things men are doing. Write them and say, have you ever talked about the stupid mentalities of women? Oh, you don't want to do that. You don't want to offend the females. Preachers in the pulpits jumping on men for lust, porn, and masturbation. When a man looks at porn, it destroys him. Solomon had 700 wives and 300 concubines. He didn't look at porn, but he had a whole harem of porn at his disposal. Let's see, David wasn't down with his men fighting. He's wandering around on the palace roof and had a good bird's eye view of Bathsheba bathing. And don't think that was an accident. She knew what the hell she was doing. down there where she knew she could be seen. But he had Uriah the Hittite, or not the Hittite, but Uriah, her husband, put in the front lines and killed to hide his sin. That didn't work. Nathan came up and said, "You're the man." But women love to say, "Oh, David was a man after God's own heart." He had an affair and killed her husband. But a man jacks off to porn, and he's just so evil by today's women. I didn't kill somebody's husband. I didn't even fuck another woman. But I jacked off in the bathroom and you caught me, and that's the end of it? Women today are fucked. But David was a man after God's own heart. A murderous son of a bitch. Now, God forgave him. But I love how women just get on this emotional thing with God and blast us over and over again. Well, white women, if you had something substantial to offer that wasn't that one-hit wonder song that was good for 10 minutes and now we don't listen to anymore, maybe we wouldn't look at porn. But hold it. There's white women, Christian and non, that are looking at porn with their husbands because they like it too. What about those? What about Christian women that them and their husband go to church on Sunday and look all righteous, but then they're doing husband and wife swapping together on a weekend? Oh, yeah. See, now the truth comes out. So it's not just men. They've done a study. More women are getting on Pornhub than men are to look at lesbian porn. Women love it. Even ones that claim to be straight. All you men out there talking about us. I don't support trans. That is a mental disorder. But I'm not going to beat up on a man who can look me in the eye and say, I think that guy's good looking. I don't care what anybody says. I don't believe a person's born gay. I believe there's environmental things. I think there's authority things going on. You raised in a dominating female family, you've got a pretty good chance of being a sissy. Nobody wants to talk about that. They want to say it's okay to be gay. It is not okay to be gay in God's sight. But I have a little more compassion, not over God, but than most Christians, and say, I understand same-sex desires. I'm not going to yammer on that. Sometimes I have them. And when I say sex, I don't mean sex with a man. You can't, unless you go up the boot. And I'm not going up the boot. But there are times when I'm inclined to believe all sin is sin. And people want to differentiate. Well, homosexuality is an abomination. Sex is sin against your body. Oh, and idolatry is worshiping a God that isn't the Lord, but you just downplayed out with materialism. How about all the women and men that are gluttony driven, eating comfort food and getting fatter and fatter? Do you ever hear sermons in today's church about gluttony? Nope. Women yelling and screaming at football games and dressing in sports men's attire. How come we're not talking about the women that dress like men? How come the men are silent about that, but they say men should not dress in women's clothes? Oh, but the women do it all day long and you're silent. This society of females is so left of center. And there's not a lot of talk about it from the church, from the conservatives. I don't care if a woman is a Republican. She's embraced a lot of male things and less lady things. Everybody wants to go on and on about Nomi, Nemi, Numa, whatever her name is in South Dakota. Oh, she's a conservative governor. Where's the conservative men? We don't need women over us men. It's sad what's happened in our country. I'm here to flip the script. I don't care if people judge me. Well, God's not going to be pleased with you. Well, that's where you're wrong. If I put my faith in Christ, God the Father looks at me through the blood of Christ. If I'm a disobedient child, of which I am oftentimes, God in his way will discipline me. And that may mean taking me out of this world. I don't make light of that book, but I'm still in the process of discovering me. And I may not look like what you think I ought to look like, but neither does anybody else. All these men beating up on men. Really kind of dumb. You men, we should be supporting each other, and we should be helping each other, and we should stop playing into the hands of dumb females. And we're not doing it, are we? I have to get some shit done today. I have a day off and a 4-day weekend, and I want to get something done, but it's hotter than piss in the south today. 90 degrees, and what do we got for humidity today? Where's my, oh, it's in the kitchen charging. 90% humidity, lovely southern weather here. You have something you struggle with, viewers. May not be the same thing as me, but it is your sin. And it's easy for all of us to look at something we don't do and be self-righteous about it. Well, I don't do that. Oh, but what do you do? Oh, well, we don't want to talk about it. Uh-huh. Broom it under the rug, baby. We all got something. Mine is just very evident, obvious. But how many people get on YouTube? How about Better Bachelor? Does he ever talk at a personal level about his own self? Now, I'm not attacking him. He's not going to do that, or he wouldn't have a shtick. When you do what I do, you're not going to have a viral following. You're not going to do it. I'm not going to compare myself to Better Bachelor. He runs a quality program, and he says quality things, and he has absolute awesome content. But he's not going to open himself up to be analyzed. I do that. I lay myself out there. And y'all know I've taken the heat for that. You all know I've taken the heat for that. My channel was a maverick creation. Nobody else has followed that. Nobody. They got airbrush programs with studio and perfect mics. Remember when I started, I had plosives in that mic. I hated it. I'd listen back to some of that old stuff and go, gosh, that was horrible. People listen to me because they want to hear what I'm saying. They're not into the bells or whistles because there's none here. Flip the script, guys. Stop listening to these men beating up on men. And let's start dealing with this woman thing. Thanks for listening. This is Pacific signing off.